Greening Deserts, SIFC, Green Pakistan Initiative GPI. An eminent researcher, investigating the causes of the degeneration in the agricultural sector, interviewed me a few weeks ago. He exchanged a few messages with me, which are reproduced here for public interest. Message: Sir, I met CEO, Green Pakistan Initiative yesterday. He told me about his meeting with you also. I would be interested to know, how do you evaluate the GPI efforts of bringing 70k acres of Khalistan under cultivation so far? In my opinion, there are some interesting mechanization interventions there, though its sustainability aspect will be critical to address, being cost intensive. Response: it is the process that makes or breaks, expensive application tools cannot. In some parts of Khalistan, canal water was made available around 40 years ago, but do we see any prosperity there? Farmers are still burdened with poverty. I recommend that GPI pre-qualify investors who are PQNK trained and only then lease lands to them. If you look at their videos, farmers state that they are in a cotton and wheat crop rotation. They have to irrigate the cotton crop 40 times with high ppm water, and after the harvest, wheat only grows if fresh soil from sand dunes is mixed into the soil to reduce salinity. They are destroying valuable assets. The project is a failure. A similar fate should be expected for users of high HP tractors and sprinklers. They fail to understand that these are site-specific tools, not production technology. Comparison with a situation in Saudi Arabia and Khalistan. We put following question to AI: why Saudi Arabia is discouraging farming? Answer is interesting. Saudi Arabia is discouraging farming for several reasons. Water scarcity: the country has extremely limited freshwater resources. Agriculture, especially water-intensive farming like wheat and alfalfa, consumes a significant amount of water. Saudi Arabia relies heavily on underground aquifers for its water supply, which are being depleted at an unsustainable rate. By reducing domestic farming, especially water-intensive crops, the country aims to conserve its water resources. Economic diversification: the Saudi government is focusing on diversifying its economy away from oil and into other sectors like tourism, technology, and renewable energy. Agriculture does not play a central role in this vision, especially given the high costs and resource constraints associated with farming in a desert environment. Cost inefficiency: due to the harsh climate and lack of arable land, farming in Saudi Arabia is often not economically viable. The cost of producing crops domestically is much higher than importing them. By discouraging farming, Saudi Arabia can allocate resources more efficiently and import food at a lower cost. Environmental sustainability: over-reliance on farming in arid regions can lead to soil degradation and desertification. By discouraging farming, Saudi Arabia is also aiming to protect its fragile environment and promote sustainable land use practices. Globalization and trade: Saudi Arabia has increased its participation in global markets, which makes importing food more feasible and cost-effective. The global food supply chain allows Saudi Arabia to secure a stable food supply without the strain of domestic agriculture. By discouraging farming, Saudi Arabia aims to preserve its limited water resources, reduce environmental strain, and better align its economic policies with long-term sustainability and diversification goals. Unfortunately, we opted to follow the same process that Saudi Arabia has abandoned. Unlocking the hidden potential of cultivated lands, not deserts. Message: you put forth a good comparison of Saudi's case with that of Khalistan. I remember your example of Amazon. We should be in sync with nature. I think if a place is a natural desert, it has its own ecosystem and therefore a reason to exist. We should be really cautious and careful in tinkering with nature. Apparently beneficial ideas may prove disastrous. I agree with your idea of pre-qualification of PQNK trained firms. These firms should do only those interventions which do not disturb the natural ecosystem. Response: I am very pleased to read your comments. For many years, we have opposed greening deserts, as it disrupts natural ecosystems. Instead of optimizing production in cultivated areas, which are only at 20% of their potential, we are encroaching on deserts, which are essential for rainfall and climate cycles.